Okay. Hello and welcome to the Wrestling Rumble Show with me and Dan. Hi Dan, how's it going?
I'm good, mate. How are you?
Yeah, good. Yeah, so we're back to doing our wrestling podcast.
Yeah.
With a bit of a name change, but we're back discussing wrestling, not reviewing stuff as much, but just discussing what's going on in the world of wrestling at the minute.
Yeah.
I wanted this one to be about obviously Vince McMahon coming back and potential sale of WWE.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's pretty mad at the minute.
Yeah, it's an interesting one to kind of come back on. I mean, obviously it's been 9 months. I don't know if you realise how long it's been, but it's actually been 9 months since we last did one. So
yeah, it was a while ago.
Yeah, it's. I mean, a lot's happened in that 9
Yeah,
months.
yeah.
There's a million reasons for both of us for it not happening. But
yeah.
I mean, the main cause me moving out and not having the facility to do it. But obviously we, a week and a half into the new year, and this is going to be the first of many, hopefully this year.
Yeah,
and I think the I'll hold my hands up. The theme change and the name change and everything is all your idea, which I think is brilliant. It's it's
revitalized,
a freshener. It's been that long since we've done it. It feels new again for us, and obviously people that was watching us before and new people that will start watching us now. I think it's a good topic to start on, really, because I think it probably is the biggest, talking point in the world of wrestling right now is what is going to happen moving forward. I mean, I do want your opinion on the whole Vince McMahon thing, though, because obviously there's a lot of rumours. No one knows exactly what's going on.
No, I don't think any of us will really know what's going on anyway.
Well, I mean, to be honest, I think the biggest question, because if the answer to this turns out to be a no, then the whole thing is kind of a bit of a moot point anyway. Do you think Vince will actually return?
It's weird because obviously he said he was retiring, he left. Well, it's really interesting. So I was going through a lot of things from like the dirt sheet and stuff like that, just going through rumours and stuff at the time when obviously the allegations came out about the allegations that came out against Vince McMahon. He actually said, there was a few posts actually that made point about this. He said that he was going to step down, but once it all blew over, he was always going to return. There's a few times, in fact, there's a few posts actually that mention that. So I don't know if it's like another rumor in that, but it sort of seems to be playing that because obviously it went through the courts, money was paid, whatever, and he's come back after retiring, really. But also, if anyone knows anyone who's retired and has been working at a job for 20, 30 years, 40 years, whatever, it's really hard to let go.
Of course,
really, I mean, I've worked at my job now for a long time, and there's people that have retired and keep coming back to work, and we're like, you don't work here, mate. You don't have to come into work. And he's like, oh yeah, I know. I just like to come in and talk to everyone, and they like, they're bored and stuff like that. So I understand that he's retired and he's gone, mate, this ain't for me. I need to do something. But if he does come back, I think there's a lot of speculation at the moment that he's going to come back and it's going to return to what it was before. And I don't think that's going to happen.
No. I think, look, if I can just jump in there and give my opinion on it, because I don't want to move forward, because for me, I honestly can't see it. To me, it doesn't make any sense. And the only part of the rumours that are floating about at the minute that do kind of make some sense is Vince wanting to sell. That, to me, makes sense. The reason why I don't think it makes sense for him to actually return in any capacity is because for him to be gone, completely gone, and then move on without him so fastly, so quickly, and how it, it felt like they already had everything in place, like it had been planned. They knew what they was going to do for the time when he did leave. Because obviously, look, at his age, anything can happen. At his age, especially with how hard it. Look, 5 a.m. He's in the gym every morning still. He's 76, 77 now. At that age, you can just have a heart attack and go. So I think the plans were in place, but I think for me, the biggest reason why I don't think he'll return, for me, coincides with the main reason why I think he's probably looking at selling is the same reason, and that's the way it's gone since he's left. The amount of people that Triple H has brought back.
Yeah.
Now, before I get any hate or any comments or any people saying, "Oh, you're just doing whatever," to explain what I mean, Triple H has brought talent back that he believes in. I don't think Triple H has gone, I'm going to bring blah, blah, blah back because Vince sacked him and it'll make Vince look like a bag of shit. I don't think that's what Triple H has done. I think Triple H has brought back talent that he likes, that he respects, that he knows what he can get out of. And I think in doing that, all it's done is show how wrong Vince was by sacking that many talent, because of how many of them talent have come back and have done very, very well. Now, for me, some of the talent have come back and have only proven that Vince was right to get rid of them in the first place. And it's a little bit like, I don't really understand why Triple H has brought them back. It must just be because he's friendly with them.
There is a few people like that as well. I want to touch on that a little bit because I kind of feel like that as well, and especially with them being there's some people that have sort of fallen at the wayside. But there's some people that me and you even said, oh, they're excellent, they're excellent, but they haven't delivered. So firstly, I want to say Johnny Gargano, Dexter Lumis, like what are they doing? I don't get it. I just, you know what I mean? There's talent there. Lumis is brilliant, but I don't get it.
I think Lumis has looked better than Gargano purely because he's added so much comedy. I think that is that one saving grace with Lumis, is that his character and the way that he does his character and his gimmick the way only he can. It adds a lot of humour, and that is his saving grace. I'll be surprised, knowing what Johnny Gargano is capable of and watching him for years in NXT. I'm surprised at, especially with Triple H running him in NXT, and now Triple H is running him on Raw. I'm very, very surprised that he's not been given any kind of anything. He's not been given anything.
Well, this is it. The thing is, as well, with some stars that have completely disappeared, there's two potential people that have completely disappeared but are still employed by WWE, and that is obviously Roderick Strong. What the hell's happened to him? And Cameron Grimes.
I like both of them.
Where are they? Not in NXT. They're not on WWE main roster. They're just gone.
Unless,
really
unless they're injured, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know neither. But it's just strange that there's been no mention, no nothing.
Another Triple H signee. Obviously, Fightful have now reported that it's that Chelsea Green has re-signed.
Yeah.
Like, why?
Well, the thing was the same. I said the same thing with Emma.
Yeah, Emma is another example. It's to be honest, and I think what surprised me is the majority of people that Triple H has brought back that are stars and that will go on to do a lot of very, very good things, because they will be given TV time and opportunities. There's a lot of them, but ones for me that I am underwhelmed with. Johnny Gargano knows capable of so much more. Hasn't done anything. You know that I'm one of the few, because he hasn't got many fans. I'm one of the few that does like a lot of what I see in Karrion Kross. I'll be completely honest.
That's the thing. That's what I was going
to.
Oh, that's what I was going to bring up. I was going to bring up Karrion Kross because me and you were like, he when he was in NXT, mate, he was red hot.
Yeah, he was. Yeah.
Then when Vince brought him up, they completely destroyed his character. He even knows that. That's why he went off, grew his hair back, and they've brought him back. And I kind of think he should be. He sort of should be in. He should be with like Braun Strowman in place. Like he should be fighting, not Madcap Moss, and just fucking about a bit like they should be having him going up against some names. You know what I mean? He should be.
To be honest,
going up against them.
Building him is the easiest build ever, and Triple H already did it in NXT. Just do it again now on the main roster because a lot of people don't watch NXT, which is what you've been saying for years. Now, the reason why NXT really gravitated towards him is because it was just chaos with him. Like, how many weeks would he just turn up and beat the living shit out of everybody? You're talking 15, 16, 17, 18 people. He just mauled them all.
I mean, they had that right. They had that right at the start with him when he came back, and they had the TikTok. They had the sand hourglass.
Yeah.
And they carried that on, and then it sort of just fell away. And then he's gone after. He's in this weird sort of feud with Rey Mysterio, which has somehow gravitated towards Madcap Moss.
Yeah, the whole thing doesn't make sense.
I don't get it, and I think that's damaging his character. He should be up. He should be facing people like Edge, Braun Strowman, Roman Reigns, but he's not. He's not even in the mid card. He's sort of. I don't know what
he's a non-entity. Like, I can right now with the way that he's being packaged, I get why nobody cares about him.
Well, even in his entrance is really good and really dark. But if you hear over the last couple of weeks, there's no reaction to his entrance.
Nothing. There's nothing, and I kind of get it. But I mean, for me,
I think what damaged him was the helmet gimmick.
Yeah,
and I think a lot of people can still see that, and I think
which is why
I don't get it.
Which is why you spend the next 2 months having him literally what the Bloodline are doing at the minute. How they're just turning up, beating up everyone and leaving. Like, have Karrion Kross doing that. Just like, it doesn't even have to be massive. Just have like 3, 4, 5 backstage segments where, you know, someone's cutting an interview and then they turn a corner and someone's just on the deck. You don't even have to see anything. Someone's down, holding their head. Have 3 or 4 of them, and then have 4 or 5 guys in the locker room chatting, and Karrion Kross is walking in and beating up all 4 or 5 of them. Do that for a few weeks, make him interesting. Do you know? It's like they're trying to say, look at this badass, look at this warrior, but then not showcasing him as that. It's really bizarre.
What's also bizarre as well is that you kind of go, oh, look, 3 hours of Raw is too long. But I also watch SmackDown and think 2 hours is not enough.
Yeah.
And I kind of think you've got the Viking Raiders. They should be on every. You got Valkyrie now. Obviously Sarah Logan. You think, man, they should be pushing these people, but they're not. But in kind of coming back to like Vince McMahon and that, I don't know if he's going to be. If he does come back, I don't think he's coming back in the same capacity.
No,
because I think that's gone now. I think there'd be too much. There'd be too much there going on with him to come in the middle about.
Yeah,
and I think the board would like that neither. But the thing that interested me the most was the selling point. I mean, why the company makes money? The company's a profit-making company. Why would you sell it? You've got I understand he's had problems with Shane. We know that him and Shane McMahon just haven't got on for many, many years. But I'm wondering why he won't go, well, okay, we'll give the company to Steph or Triple H. Instead of doing that, he's gone, I'll sell the whole fucking thing. And it's like...
Honestly, mate. And
why?
This was the point that I was trying to make earlier.
Yeah.
I think that the same reason why you won't come back is the same reason why he's looking to sell it. And honestly, just because it's the only thing that right now makes any sense, is he's throwing his toys out of his pram. He doesn't like the fact that he's been made to look like an idiot. Now, we can look, is Bray Wyatt a global superstar? Yes. will he go on and do some incredible things that will give us as fans some unbelievable memories for the next God knows how many years to come? Yes.
Yeah.
But right now, since his return was incredible. His actual return was unbelievable. Everything after that has been a little bit meh. It's been a little bit.
Reason that is, now the thing that I don't like about that is because, you know, marks, whatever you want to call them,
Yeah.
the hardcore fans, now they moaned at WWE for, not, rushing too quickly, not long storylines.
Yeah.
All this moaning that they don't plan a character, they don't fan him out. So they've gone, all right, we'll do a long program with Bray Wyatt. It'll be a slow burner. And all I've heard is people going, oh my God, it's so slow. Oh, I'm getting bored. It's like, hang on a minute. 5 months ago, you were moaning that they rushed this character, that they rushed storylines, and that you wanted better in-depth storylines, longer takes. And it's like, they're giving you that. And now you're like, hang on a minute, I don't like it.
I agree with all that, but you must admit there was a period that did become a point where him coming out and saying the same thing in a promo and then nothing happening went on for a little bit too long.
My wife and daughter, they sat there and they said the same thing. My wife said last week, Bray Wyatt come out and went, oh no, he's coming out again. He's going to say he's nervous. He loves all this. And do you know what? He said the same thing. And I was thinking, hang on a minute, he said this for the last 3 weeks.
Mate, honestly, it's longer than that. Because for me, it's only been the last 3 weeks since there's been a little bit more happening with Uncle Howdy.
Yeah.
Where now it's getting really interesting. And now it is going to go. But like, look, Bray Wyatt's a superstar and it's going to go boom. But for me, if you look at from his return and then 3 weeks ago it started getting interesting, you're talking a 5 or 6 week period there where nothing happened with him.
No.
Where he came out. I mean,
he kept apologising. I'm sorry and all this.
Yeah, but even before that, I mean, I go way back to when he first came back.
Yeah.
The first promo we gave was very, very emotional. I think that was beautiful. It was brilliant. Like, it was him coming out as not Bray Wyatt. It was coming out as Windham.
Yeah.
It was coming out as Windham Rotunda saying, I've struggled with mental health and I never thought I'd come back, and I'm back, and I'm thankful for every fan that has reached out. And it was important that he had the opportunity to come out and just be himself because he's so loved by the fans. He wanted to open up and say, and go, this is me, this is real me, this isn't the character, this is me. That's brilliant. But then week 2 and week 3, he came out, it was about 3 minutes into a promo, the upside down Firefly flashed onto the screen, he looked up, and then they literally just cut it. And that was the last that you've seen of him. And you're like, well, like, as a fan, you're excited. Like, for me, when a lot of people was moaning, saying, oh, this is boring now, there was parts of it where it probably was boring, but I'm such a big Bray Wyatt fan, I didn't really care. I was just happy that he was back and happy to see him speaking. But there was, for me, a 5 or 6 week period where they did nothing with it. Yeah. And, I agree with you. People that are complaining about, slow building a character and long storytelling, all that's great, but you've still got to keep your audience engaged. And there was too long of a gap where they didn't do that. Now I
think what's happened is there was no WWE pay-per-view in December. And I don't think that has happened for as long as I can think of. There was no pay-per-view. There's been really long period.
There's
a massive period between the Royal Rumble and the last pay-per-view, the past premium live event, that it's you've built things and then nothing's really, like they've been having title defenses on Raw and SmackDown, which you kind of thought maybe they might have done that for a pay-per-view. Like they've had 1 week where they've gone, oh, next week you're going to face, and the winner will then face next week for the tag team titles or the Intercontinental Championship. And you're thinking, it seems to me like they wanted to build that for a premium live event, and then obviously they forgot they've got one. And I think that sort of thing with Bray Wyatt as well, where we're with LA Knight, it's gone on a little bit longer than normal because they've obviously paid a lot of money to have Bray Wyatt back, so they want to show him every week, and by doing so, I think they've stretched it further than I think they wanted to, if you know what I mean.
Look, if I can just jump in a little bit there. there's so many things that they've done well with Bray Wyatt. Like, I've seen people complain, "Go, your words are not showing up on Raw yet." Doesn't need to. The fact that Alexa Bliss is on Raw and she's backstage and she's saying, "Oh yeah, I'm going to take this out of Bianca Belair," and the screen behind you just literally see the upside down Firefly.
Yeah,
That's all you need. That is brilliant long storytelling. Like, it doesn't have to be on Raw. The only thing that they did wrong is, like I said, there was a 6-week period where they didn't do anything with him. And for me, the only explanation is whoever's playing Uncle Howdy, I personally think it's Bo, but
yeah,
whoever is playing Uncle Howdy wasn't ready. They weren't ready
yeah,
to come back and play that character yet. So I think Bray is so, it's like, no, this is what I'm doing, this is what I want to do, this is what I want to do. The only explanation for me is that there was just delaying time until whoever's playing Uncle Howdy could come back. And obviously, last SmackDown, Uncle Howdy hitting the Sister Abigail on Bray is like, it's like, what?
yeah,
Why? Like, nobody's seen that coming. Anyone who says they've seen that coming is a liar. Nobody's seen that coming, because there were a lot of people that thought Uncle Howdy's just Bray. And obviously, now we know categorically that it isn't. But because Bray has, when he returned, his Firefly Funhouse characters came back to life.
Yeah.
He introduced the White Rabbit, which obviously we know that Bray is the White Rabbit because we've seen him in the mask. The White Rabbit is Bray. So, but because he's got so many personas, and you've got Bray, you've got Eater of Worlds Bray, you've got the Fiend, you've got all these different characters that having Uncle Howdy, nobody would expect him to come out and attack Bray.
Yeah,
it would have been, Bray's controlling him. Or, I mean, like I said, even Uncle Howdy could have been controlling Bray, because if you think Alexa Bliss was controlling the Fiend, Bray has done things like that before. But for Bray to be attacked by Uncle Howdy, for me, was like, and then, nothing has been explained, nothing's happened. Like, it's like, why, what's going on, why? And that is brilliant. Like, now it's really heating up, and now it's getting interesting. Yeah. But for me, it's a month too late, because for me, his return has been tarnished. And this is because Bray Wyatt is one of my favourites. I'm a massive Bray Wyatt fan. Yeah. We know how much of a creative genius he is. And his return promised so much, like all the Firefly Funhouse characters all coming to life for his return. And then nothing's happened with that. We haven't seen, the pig. We haven't seen the witch. We haven't, Huskus and, all of them, Rambling Rabbit. And, we haven't seen any of them. And it's like, why? Why? That was the most interesting part of his return, was the Firefly Funhouse.
The problem as well, you've got to think as well, there's still 2 more weeks until the Rumble, until his match with LA Knight, his first live match.
Just imagine if Royal Rumble entrant 21's Huskus, and then 22's Rampant Rabbit, and then 20. Just imagine if
it's happened before. It's happened before.
That'd be amazing. So to just finish my point before we really deep into the Vince thing is, Bray, has done well. For me, Braun Strowman's been a little bit underwhelming. I don't think he's done anything special since he's come back. Braun Strowman's always going to be a draw, because he's 7 foot tall, and he's a monster. Look at him. People are always going to find athletes like him impressive, but he hasn't showcased himself. He hasn't got. How many people have come back where you've gone, they've proven Vince wrong for sacking them with what they've done?
Yeah.
There really aren't that many. Now, like I said, a lot of them are superstars and will go on to prove their worth. For me, people might agree or disagree with this, I don't know. Yeah. LA Knight really has cool, because it was Vince's idea to change his name to Max Dupree. Triple H's idea. Then when Vince left, Triple H turned him back to LA Knight, and I think what LA Knight's done the last couple of weeks in his promos, and look, a lot of people don't like that his gimmick is very Stone Cold and rocket. Like, he'll say something like, and going, "Yeah, it's so Stone Cold." Like, it's Stone Cold Steve Austin. But
if you've watched him on Impact, when he was on Impact, he did the same gimmick.
Yeah,
and it's sort of. His
promo skill, his promos are. it is a hybrid between Rock, Stone Cold, and then his own flavour on it.
The good thing
And a lot
about
of people don't like it. I like it.
yeah, well, the good thing about him going up against Bray is it's pushed him more, I think, than Killian Cross. You know, if you could probably swap them round, and then Killian Cross would be more relevant, if you know what I mean, than he is now. And I think LA Knight putting him against Bray Wyatt, it doesn't matter if he loses. I think he's still going to be quite big, and people are still going to be up on him. So
I agree with that point, but I think Bray wanted someone who could battle him on the mic.
Yeah,
and I don't think Karrion could have done that. Whereas LA Knight, that's his wheelhouse. You know, I think it's going to be very, very interesting moving forward. But I just want to say this.
Yeah.
That for me is the reason why I think Vince wants to sell. I think he's gone. There has been enough. Like, even though a lot of the people that you would have thought, so your Johnny Gargano's, your Braun Strowman's, your Bray Wyatt's, like they're the people that Vince sacked
and Bronson Reed. Don't forget Bronson Reed, who came back last week.
Yeah. You know, there was a lot of people that Vince allowed to leave that haven't come back and had the impact that Dakota Kai and Io Shirai have had, or Io Sky, as she's now known. But, you know, there's a lot that he had that. There's a lot that have come back that you would have expected to go to make Vince look like an idiot, and they haven't shone yet. They will in the future, but the overall product, like even AEW fans that have been shitting on WWE for years, saying how bad it is, can't deny that it has improved.
Oh, massively, yeah. And you can tell as well. I think a lot of the older veterans, I would say, have now. I think they're now more creative free.
Yeah.
Especially with Kevin Owens and people like that. Like when Kevin Owens they said, "Oh, we're going to team you tonight with Elias," right? And I thought it was genius when he went, "We're not okay. Do you remember when you traumatized me when you pretended to be someone else?" And he was like, "No, that was my bro." He goes, "Don't it?" And it's like, if that Vince McMahon had written that, or someone had written that
freedom,
they wouldn't have allowed that. And that was brilliant, because that showed me that they've gone, right, you're going to have a match with Elias, have an interview, and just, well, what do I say? What do I have to ask you? I don't have to ask you. You know what to say.
Yeah,
and it's like
so much more creative control and freedom. Yeah, but there's been a million reasons, and I think half of the talent that Vince sacked that Triple H has brought back has done enough to prove that Vince was wrong for sacking them. And I think seeing how. When you look at the numbers and the ratings and the reviews and how many people tuning in and you know, and the way people are intrigued and interested in WWE's products again that haven't been for years, that's got to be a sore one for Vince to take, because he's so stubborn. Everyone knows how stubborn he is, that he's been adamant going, it's not my fault, blah blah blah, and then he's left, and Vince McMahon has Triple H has taken control of creative, and it's gone from there to there. You know, and for me, that is why he won't return in that kind of capacity, because to him, even though I don't think Triple H has done any of it on purpose, he's just brought back in people that he trusts and that he wants to work with, that he enjoys creatively working with. I think Vince McMahon will view it as, hang on a minute, I got rid of these people, and you've brought 70% of who I sacked back. William Regal, you know, like 70% of who I got rid of, you've brought back. Vince will feel like that's a spit in the face to him, and it's Triple H trying to prove Vince wrong. And for me, that's why I think he's looking to sell. I think he's gone, well, do you know what? Fuck you. I'm going to sell.
I thought that when he left, you know, just before he went, and it all came out that he had these allegations, and there was all this, and then he sort of sacked everyone. It kind of felt like he was like, do you know what? Fuck this. No. Yeah. And they were like, well, I don't like my way my character's going. Yeah, fuck off. You know, he's just like, no, I don't need you. I don't. Yeah. And he was just going mad. And everyone was like, you. And then they're like, sack him. And they're like, oh, we don't need Regal anymore. And he's just, sack them all. And he's like, and then someone afterwards has gone, you know, you've just sacked William Regal. And he was like, I don't care anymore. You know, I'm not going to be here anymore. It doesn't matter. And he's gone. And Triple H has taken over. And they've gone to Trip. You know, you're in control of creative. Do what you need to. And he's gone, well, the first thing I'm going to do is bring back all those blokes that you got rid of, because They're the future.
Yeah.
You know, you can't rely on Edge, you know, Finn Balor, even Styles, even Reigns and people like that forever.
No, I mean,
the
no.
people I brought up. You know, your Johnny Garganos, your Dexter Lumis, your LA Knight, your Karrion Kross. These are the people that are going to be in 10 years' time, where, you know, Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns are. You know, we can't keep asking 10 years later, are they still going to be? Are they still going to be match ready and all that?
I think you've just made a great point there. And do you know what, mate? I actually haven't really given that too much thought. And I mean, the only thing I need to add to that is Edge hasn't got long left. I think he's basically said that 2023 will be his last year.
He had, I think on his contract, he had 5 matches on his contract when he signed it originally. But apparently he's had like 8 matches since.
Well, I believe he said last year SummerSlam, because he wrestled at SummerSlam. I believe that's when Dom turned on Ray at SummerSlam. Yeah. So I'm pretty sure Edge said after that SummerSlam that SummerSlam 2023 hopefully will be my goodbye.
Yeah.
So he's not got long left. Ray, I don't think has got long left. I think this very much is Ray passing the baton to his son. I think this is very much what they're doing. But I don't think people realise the age of Finn Balor and AJ Styles. I think Finn's 43. I think AJ Styles 44, 45. People don't realise how old these blokes are now. Yes, they're incredible athletes and you know, staying injury free, which unfortunately AJ has just got injured, and this is the thing at that age. Yet people go, yeah, but you know, AJ's never injured. People assume that he'll get over this injury, he'll come back, he'll be fine again. At AJ Styles' age, it doesn't work like that. This could literally be a catalyst to injury after injury after injury after injury. It might not.
Look at Big E. Look at Big E.
Yeah.
He's still off now. He doesn't even know if he's going to come back at all because of his injury.
Yeah.
But yeah, you've got to think of the age of Kofi as well. Kofi Kingston, he's in his 40s.
Yeah.
Roman Reigns, I think, is in his 40s as well. So is Seth.
I don't think Roman's quite 40. I think he's about 37-ish, 37,
right, okay. He's pushing it.
But what I wanted to say about Roman is he has said many, many times, and I don't think he's bullshitting here, because I think he genuinely wants to follow the same blueprint that his big cousin set down. Yeah. You know, I think he very much wants to follow in The Rock's footsteps.
Yeah.
But for me, Roman has said that many times that, look, like, the only reason why I'm here is because all you fuckers aren't doing it.
Yeah.
At that level. Like, and I honestly think in 12 months' time, maybe 2 years' time, I think the product will be at a point where if Roman sits back and goes, KO's champion, is crushing it. Cody Rhodes is back, is amazing. Seth Rollins is obviously will only go from strength to strength, is amazing. There might be that many people that you would consider in that elite echelon that Roman will, once he thinks that, well, I'm not needed anymore. There's 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 guys that are capable of carrying this company forward into the future. I'm going to go off and do movies. I don't think Roman, wants to do this much longer. And look, the guy's living with leukemia. I don't think he wants to be doing this.
No.
For the next 10 years. I don't. I think he will want to be in a position where he can take better care of his health and his body. Now, I think Roman could potentially become kind of like a bit of a Brock Lesnar, and
Yeah, I guarantee that discussion. I guarantee that discussion is probably already had backstage. Sort of, he's probably like, once I drop these belts, I want to step back a little bit.
Yeah, he'll be part time. Yeah, of course. And look, you really can't blame him. I have to mention this point. I know this was meant to be about Vince, but I have to bring up this talking point because it is so so pretty much everywhere now. I mean, Sean Ross Sapp has basically confirmed it, and I think this is what everyone does, like on the dirt sheets and everything. When something is said that it's a rumor, you kind of go, yeah, but the big dog hasn't said anything. When Sean Ross Sapp tweets, or whether it's him through his private Twitter account or him through his Fightful account, you're looking for that, and obviously he has now confirmed that there are massive rumours that at the Royal Rumble there will be a Forbidden Door entrant.
Yeah.
And I do. Firstly, do you think it will happen?
I don't know. I think they've got enough on their roster, but I mean, you've got to think they've got to build to WrestleMania, so it's easily possible.
Yeah,
You
but I
don't
think
want
with what
someone to
Triple H
come
is
back.
building, I think with what
You don't
Triple H
want
is building, he
you
will
don't
want
want someone to come back just for the Rumble.
No, we'll see. But I mean, there was obviously a Forbidden Door entrant last year in Mickey James.
Yeah.
But I think that is what it will be. I think, for me, if you look at what Triple H has done, and for me, he might have overdone it a little bit. Has he potentially brought back a little bit too many? Like, for me, it's difficult with stuff like Emma and Chelsea Green, because I think the women's roster did need some new, some
Yeah.
new blood.
The thing with the women's roster is I think they've got some good. They've got an in-depth roster already. It's just they don't seem to be using it. You built up Shotzi and then knocked her down. You brought her back with her tank, but then done nothing with her. You've also done the same with Xia Li. I can't remember how many times Xia Li has gone from heel to face, back to heel again, because she was the guy that she was the girl that interfered. The hooligan. And it's like, how many times is she going to go backwards and forwards? And also Lacey Evans.
Yeah,
I can't remember how many times they've done vignettes or trailer bits of her coming back, and then she came back, and then they wanted her as a heel face, and she came back and she was like, "I'm an All-American," and then literally a week later, she's cutting off the crowd. And I was like, "Hang on a minute, what?" And then they've repackaged her again. It's a bit like, what's happening here? And then the problem was, I think there's two problems that they have now, especially on the SmackDown side, is you had Ronda Rousey, which, let's all face it, she is the Brock Lesnar of the women's roster. And just like Brock Lesnar, it's hard, really hard for them to take a title off her, because they built her up so strong. It's a bit like, it was a bit like when she went up with Liv Morgan, and it was like, she beat her the first time, and it was like, oh yeah, but then there was controversy around that, whatever. But then the second time, when they had the hardcore match thing, and I was a bit like, it doesn't matter how hardcore you've built Ronda up so much, she could go up against anyone now, and she'll always beat them. And I thought that the only person that they had which was good at the time, which was Raquel, and they were Raquel, and they were building her up to the point where she could actually beat her here. No, we trashed that again. And then what we've done, we've brought up Charlotte, which is fine. But once again, you're going to be having that same problem like they've had on Raw with Bianca, is who takes the title off her. And then what happens is you have this long promo. You know for a fact at the end of this, Bianca, or at this case, Charlotte or Ronda, was always going to come out on top. It doesn't matter who you put up. And that's the problem they've got now in the women's division, is they've built them up so big and tough that you couldn't count on anyone beating them.
No,
and then once that program ends, they don't stay with that. You don't go, it's not the underdog story. We're not talking about Liv Morgan beating Ronda Rousey here, and then next week it's something else. They just, you know what I mean? It's sort of like Rochelle, right? That'll be it. We won't see her now for weeks. Why? So you built her up to the point where she was at the point of beating Ronda Rousey, where she had a broken arm. It was like, oh my God, she's going to actually do this.
Yeah.
Oh, and then we make her lose within 2 minutes or whatever. Charlotte comes back and wins within 2 minutes. And it's a bit like, what do we do with Rochelle now? What do we do with Gonzalez? What do we do with her?
Yeah, I mean,
should be at the wayside. So I don't know where they go from this.
Yeah, but I think in the same breath, I think even though I agree with most of the points that you're making, I still don't think bringing back Emma and Chelsea Green are at that caliber. Then
that's the thing. That's the thing. They've got Shotzi. They've got Xia Li.
So then focus on talent that is good enough to beat a Ronda or a Charlotte.
You've even got on NXT. You've got Toxic Attraction. You've got Wendy Chu. But at the moment, I think they would get lost in the shuffle coming up.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest,
So,
obviously the star of Toxic Attraction was now Mandy Rose. It was obviously now gone.
I've got a few things to say about that myself, really. But yeah,
I mean, we'll jump onto the Mandy Rose point after we finish on the Forbidden Door one. For me, I know you don't want someone to come back just for the Rumble. That for me is what I think will happen. And to be honest, I think it's what I want. Like, because
you imagine, right? If, let's argument's sake, it's Will Ospreay and
someone like that. No.
And Jay White, right?
Yeah,
and you
go
no.
So if it's
and you do that,
no. That's not what I mean.
Happens.
That's not what I mean in here, mate.
Right.
No, if it's a Jay White or a Will Ospreay, they have to be signed on to long term. It's specifically Will Ospreay. I mean, his age as well. I think he's 25, 26. My God. I mean, if it's him, that has to be a long term contract. It has to be. But for me, I think what the term Forbidden Door entrant actually means. This is where a lot of people are getting confused.
Yeah.
A true Forbidden Door entrant has to be someone that is signed to a different company that can't be in WWE long term. So if Will Ospreay is out of contract in NJPW and he's already said that he wants to come over to America, and it's basically AEW or WWE for him. But you know, a Will Ospreay or a Jay White, for me, I've got nothing against Jay White. He's very good at what he does, but Will Ospreay excites me more. I think that has to be a lot. That if Will Ospreay turns up, that's not a Forbidden Door entrant because he's left NJPW. That's not a Forbidden Door. Yeah. That's a free agent that has turned up. A Forbidden Door entrant is someone that is signed to a different company that turns up in WWE. That has to be a one-night only thing. Now, for me, it's not going to be MJF, as amazing as that would be, because MJF would come at the Royal Rumble and it would be a bit of a taster for him, the fans, of what it would be like in, 1st of January 2024. We're now less than 12 months from his contract ending in AEW. I would be astounded if he doesn't sign for WWE after that. I think for me, too much has happened. He's said too much shit. He's gone to town on Tony Khan a little bit too much for them to come to terms. Yes, people be but Tony Khan's now paying him. It was all about money. He wanted money, and Tony Khan's paying. Look, MJF knows he's too big of a star for AEW, and he also wants to be a movie star. That's what he wants to do. He's already said that as a hardcore wrestling fan, you're a bit like prick because it's kind of shit on the industry that we love. Saying, I don't want to do this.
The only thing I can see him doing is the same what they did with. Oh my God! I can't believe I've forgotten her name.
Mickie James.
Mickie James. That's it. Because obviously they must have some sort of working relationship with Impact. So I would expect, for it to be a big Forbidden Door, the Impact World Champion or something like that.
I mean, look, MJF, as amazing as it would be, it won't happen.
Yeah.
Why would Tony Khan, knowing that in less than 12 months' time is going to be going over to his rival company, why would he let him? It wouldn't happen. For me, the only one that actually makes any sense is Chris Jericho.
Yeah.
And it would be huge and it would be massive. The only argument is, does he, if it is Jericho, does he enter the Rumble as Y2J, WWE version of Jericho, or does he enter as Judas version, AEW version of Jericho? Yeah. Either one would be cool and awesome in its own right.
Yeah.
Jericho would make sense because I think he's got enough respect and enough sway, and he's kind of removed enough from AEW in the sense of he's a legend, and even though he's contracted to AEW, he will be allowed to do pretty much whatever he wants because of his age and his music stuff with Fozzy. I think Jericho, if he turned around to Khan and go, look, I'm going to enter the Rumble, it's going to be a one-night thing. I don't think Khan would be able to stop him because of his name. And look, Jericho's been through that much shit with Vince and WWE, and no, you can't do this. Jericho will have signed with AEW with something put in his contract that says, look, if I want to do something, you ain't fucking stopping me. I'm going to do it. Jericho would make sense because I believe he wants to say goodbye. I think it would be amazing for him to enter the Rumble as a last-time thing. And for me, it makes a lot of sense because I think Jericho's very, very synonymous with the Royal Rumble matches. Yeah. How many Royal Rumbles have you watched over the years where Jericho was doing his Jericho things? He goes out under the bottom rope and he spends 20 minutes sat on the outside. You completely forget he's in the match.
I reckon what would really be good actually was if it's going along and it goes to number 27 or something like that, and the whole arena goes black, and then you hear the dongs, dong, the Undertaker.
Yeah. I mean, again, that could possibly happen. That obviously wouldn't be a Forbidden Door entrant because he's not.
No, but it's a big thing. It would be a big thing.
Of course, it would be a massive thing. I think for me, the only ones that I would hope that it's Jericho. It could be like a Matt Hardy or a Jeff. It will be somebody like that that's older. That's now. It'll be a Cesaro, a Samoa Joe, one of the Hardy Boys, Christian maybe, Jericho. It will be one of them. It won't be MJ. Obviously, I think the ex-WWE guys, it'll be like, imagine if it's Mox. Imagine if for some reason Roman's ringside, because it could be
Daniel Bryan.
Yeah. I mean, I think Mox would be bigger than Bryan. I think.
Yeah.
But imagine if Roman's ringside and Seth's in the ring. Say Roman wrestles Kev at Royal Rumble, beats Owens, and then he's ringside for the men's Rumble match, and he's sat there ringside going, right, who's my challenger going to be at Mania? And me personally, I think it's going to be this guy. I think he ends and wins the Rumble. For me, it's the only thing that makes sense. The American Nightmare, because why they're showing a video, and it's a long video package as well. It's like a 4 or 5 minute video package, and they do it on every Raw and SmackDown. And I've done it for the last 3 or 4 weeks. It's just reminding us, like we need reminding. By the way, it's Cody Rhodes. No shit. I think we all know who Cody Rhodes is. But I think they're making it a little bit too obvious that he's coming back at Rumble, because every week it's like, oh, by the way, is the American Nightmare. I think it will be Cody Rhodes. I think he enters 30 and wins the Rumble. And I think it probably is him that takes the belt off Reigns, because I think it's getting to the point now where we're approaching the 3-year mark now as Reigns as champion. Somebody has to take the belt off him, and Rhodes is big enough to do it. Yeah. As good as a Kevin Owens is, I think, would it make any sense for Owens to have 4 matches with Roman over the last 2.5 years, lose them all, and then now be like Roman's just beat him 4 times in a row. Like, for Owens to then beat him like 12 months later is a bit like, well, doesn't really make any sense. Owens is one of my favourites. I absolutely love him, but I think Cody Rhodes for me is the only one that, with the American Nightmare gimmick, is big enough where it makes sense for him to be able the one to take the belt off Roman. Obviously, if Forbidden Door entrant comes in and it's someone like a Mox, or someone like that, obviously he won't be taking the belt off him because he is signed with AEW. But it'd be an interesting dynamic.
Yeah, it'd be interesting.
If they do a Forbidden Door entrant, and I do think they will, I'd be surprised if it isn't Jericho. It's the only one that would have a massive impact, but also make sense.
It'll be interesting. Whether Brock Lesnar comes back and does it, so.
It's gonna be Christian or something. I think we all kind of know it'll be Christian.
Two quick ones. Wrap up sort of thing. Firstly, what do you think of the Mandy Rhodes sort of situation? From a business point, and if anyone's watching, check your contracts for work, because there are certain things in your contract you probably don't even know or read, which will allow you to do certain things and get away with certain things, but also things that won't allow you. And also, it will tell you in the contract what would mean sort of like immediate termination. So it came out that she broke her contract. For me, as like someone in the biz and all, like business and stuff like that, if someone broke a contract under me, mate, you're gone. There's no ifs or buts. If you've broken your contract, there's no sort of second chances. There's certain things that you could get warnings for, but there will be on your contract such and such, immediate dismissal, and lots of people have said, oh, it's it's a shitty move. They should have warned her. Not if it's on her contract. She broke her contract. That is it. Because if you go back on someone who's got a broken contract, it undermines everything.
Yeah.
Because it not only shows staff can do what they want, but it means that if something happened in the future and they sack someone, they can go, hang on, she did that and got away with it. Know what I mean?
Exactly.
So in my head, yes, Mandy's gone, but mate, if she broke her contract, that's our game over, mate. For me.
I mean, my opinion on that is pretty much identical to the final point that you've just made, and I was getting ready in my head ahead as you was talking what I was going to say. Then you kind of already stole my thunder, you bastard. You always do.
Sorry,
but no, it's fine. But yeah, so basically, what I was going to say was, and it's just wording it slightly differently. They have to put their foot down.
Yeah.
Because if you think of the world we live in now, with Austin Creed or Xavier Woods, WWE name, real name Austin Creed, with the Up Down 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 channel, which Adam Cole's on, Tyler Breeze is on, Cesaro's on, a load of others, Shayna Baszler. Then you look at Twitch. So again, AJ Styles, Gargano. Wrestlers have found ways of earning other money. Now,
I don't think it was specifically down for that. I think what it was the content.
No, the point that I'm making is, if you look at the world that we're now living in, where people, mate, look at what I'm doing. Like, for work now, I'm working on a self-employed basis.
Yeah.
Where, it's something on the side for extra income. So many people are finding ways of doing this. Now, wrestlers, what I was going to say was, there's a lot that are doing Twitch, there's a lot that are doing YouTube, but for me, the one that WWE and any company has to stamp their authority on it and say, no, you can't do this while you're under contract with us, is women that are on OnlyFans-like sites, because so many are doing it. You look at Scarlett, Mandy Rose.
I don't think that
there's a what. The reason why I'm saying this is people earn a lot of money through Twitch. No, but what I'm saying is the biggest money, the ones where WWE superstars earn a lot of money through Twitch and YouTube, yes. But the point I'm trying to make is, if you compare that to the amount of money that can be earned from women doing OnlyFans-like content on the side, you can't even compare it. You're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars.
I don't think it was. I think it wasn't about the earnings. Now, I'm wondering whether she did it right and then didn't tell them that she was making money from it, because I don't think that was the problem. I think if she went to them and went, look, I want to do this, I'm going to make money from it. They probably would go, okay, you couldn't do this, but you can still do this sort of thing, right? And also as well, you got to think, like you're saying, like the fan only sites and stuff like that. It probably came down to the fact that she didn't tell anyone, and it was the content, and it was the content of it. She could have got away with it if it was like bikini shots and all that sort of stuff, if she declared it. But what it looks like happened here is that she told no one. That she just went, she made this site up, she started making money, and then told no one. And then they came across it and she went, oh, sorry. And it's like, hang on, you've breached your contract. That's it. Bye-bye.
Do you know what? And this is rare. It doesn't happen often, but I do like it when it does. I actually do slightly disagree with you there.
Yeah.
And I disagree with you because I don't think WWE can sack her if it's just because of the content she's put out. Because WWE over the last 2 or 3 years have done way too much with Mandy Rose. They've had a pose naked with the NXT titles, covering her boobs and that. How many bikini shots, and like when she was
that would have been approved. That would have been approved slightly. But also, I think, like I said, it's not just the content. It was probably down to the way.
It's her not telling people. I think it cannot just be, oh, it's because of the content. Because WWE have promoted her by using the same content. They've had to put, look, she was naked. She had a title over her boobs and another title over her down there. But you could see her side. She was completely naked. They've done, mate, when she was doing the thing with Otis on SmackDown, she was getting her out of the swimming pool when he was sat there on the lounge. And like, it was so sexualized that WWE couldn't have got away with sacking her. It would have been unfair dismissal to sack her if it was just for content. It has to be she's done it without telling anyone, and that she's probably done something that we don't know about that is in breach of a contract. And for me, I've got 2 final points on this. And one, am I gutted she's gone? Yeah, I think she had a lot of talent, she had a lot of potential, and I think it's disappointing the way that it's come to an end. But I think it had to happen. I think people that are going, oh, Mandy's at fault. No, she's not. People that are going, WWE are at fault. No, they're not. I don't think either side is at fault here.
No.
What I think has happened is, do you think Mandy's asked, really? I mean, she's in the first month of her being gone, she's earned, what is it, just over $1 million?
Yeah, I don't think she's. I think she's regretful how it turned out.
Yeah, but
I don't think
what I'm saying is, if you look, she's earned $800,000 over the last 12 months by working for WWE. She's now earned $1.2 million in a month by not working for WWE. I don't think she's really asked, to be honest, the amount of money that she's now making by doing this. I don't think either side's at fault. She's well within her right to earn extra money on the side, right? She's obviously done something that is in breach of a contract. And WWE at that point have to put the foot down and stamp authority, because if they let Mandy Rose get away with it, and then Liv Morgan or Lacey Evans or it could be anybody, any other woman thinks, you know what, Mandy's doing it, I'm going to do it. How can they then sack her when they've let Mandy get away with it? So they've had no choice but to say, so we don't have to, we don't want to have to lose so much talent and stuff. Yeah. And we don't allow our talent to do this. So if we let Mandy get away with it, we're then in a position where we don't want our talent doing this, but if we let Mandy get away with it, we're going to have to let everyone get away with it, and we don't want that. Nice. So we're going to have to sack Mandy, because then if someone else wants to do the exact same thing, so I don't know, Maurice, for example. I'm just thinking of someone that is absolutely gorgeous, and Maurice is absolutely gorgeous. Someone like Maurice, if she does an OnlyFans, on the side, or Scarlett, if they've seen Mandy do it and get away with it, they're going to do it. Whereas now they go, well, Mandy did it and she got sacked, so I don't think I might do that. So WWE had to, but I don't think either party's at fault. I think it was one of them where it had to happen.
Yeah, a couple of more things just before we go.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah,
is the potential buyer. Now I've seen them, because obviously Vince said, I'm coming back, it's to sell the company. And obviously all these buyers have come out. And the one thing that I keep seeing online is everyone keeps mentioning Disney, right? And thinking, oh, we're going to have Mickey Mouse wrestle. And I'm like, are you crazy? I said, am I the only person that thinks Disney buying WWE? Am I the only person who thinks that's a good deal? Like, I think that, everyone, you've got your ESPN, you've got your Fox Sport, you've got things like that. I've seen the Saudi Kings come up, mate. What they've done in football, I don't want that in wrestling. No. Because they would literally just go, okay, well, we'll move it all to Saudi, and we'll book the matches and all this sort of thing.
Yeah, so, but you know what? I also don't think that it can't be the Saudis for many reasons. But the reason why I don't think it could be the Saudis is I don't think they would want to. And yes, WWE is a massive money making scheme, but the Saudis and other oil owning families and establishments that have a ridiculous amount of money, they go into football because, and like I said, yes, I'm a Man United fan. You're obviously an Arsenal fan. Without being biased, because I will happily sit there and say how fantastic of a football team they now are. But look at what money has done for Man City and Chelsea. Now, Man City and Chelsea had owners that didn't really understand anything about football. But when you've got that much money, not only can you then buy the best players, but you can also buy the best CEOs, directors of football, training facilities. When you have that much money, you can buy the best in their field, the best scout, the best physio. You can afford to buy the best of everything, and that is what makes Chelsea and City then powerhouses. In football, you can throw a lot of money at it, and it will happen with Newcastle. I think Newcastle, if you look at Chelsea and City's history before Abramovich and Sheikh Mansour bought Chelsea and City, respectively, even though obviously they both did have a history, I don't think when you look at the history of a football club, they was necessarily as big as what Newcastle already are in the terms of the history of the game.
You think about the players they've gone through, and the managers they've gone through, and the turmoil it's caused, not just in the football, because obviously you can buy the best players and then you'd have the best team, but it's the fan base that I think where they've gone, can't you keep anything simple? You know what I mean? If you don't win this, we'll get rid of you, sort of thing.
Yeah.
But I always find that the Saudis sort of use football like they use cars. Like one of them will go, well, I own 4 Lamborghinis. And someone will go, well, I own Chelsea and 8 Lamborghinis. And then another one will go, well, fine, I'll do better than that. What I'll do is I'll buy Man City. We'll win the and it's all sort of a status thing. And I don't want WWE to be that.
Yeah, but you can do that in football. Like if you look, like
wrestling,
you can come into football and throw money at it, and look at what Man City did. Man City were yo-yoing, like there was either just scraping relegation or they was getting relegated into the Championship and coming back up. Then the money's coming, and look where they are now. I don't think anyone could argue that when you look at the way that a business is run and the way a football club is run, they run like a well-oiled machine, and it is brilliant. The business model,
I just want to.
But in football, you can throw money at it. How do you do that in wrestling? I don't see how the Saudis could come in and just throw a lot. In order for the wrestling product to work, you have to have a deep knowledge and understanding of how wrestling works. You don't have to have a deep knowledge and understanding of how football works, because you can throw money at it and employ people. Whereas wrestling, if you own a wrestling company, specifically the size of WWE, yes, you can. Of course, you can employ people that know what they're doing. But at the end of the day, it's completely different to football. You were going to have deep knowledge of how the wrestling industry works, and they don't.
How do you think about sort of Disney buying it? Because for me, I think it's a no-brainer. You got to think, right, that it would mean the WWE network on Disney Plus. Good, that saves me £10 a month on the network, right? You've also got to think of the opportunities, right? So you've got to think. So Disney, obviously, they haven't. I don't think they've mucked up things like Marvel and Star Wars. But what that does is it gives them the ability to publicize wrestling on those channels. Like you could have Iron Man sitting there or Ant-Man watching WWE and actually reference it. What are you watching? We're watching WWE. Roman Reigns on the set. And like I mean, that'd be so cool. Secondly, as well, opens doors for the wrestlers as well, because it gives them an ability to appear in Star Wars, to appear in Marvel. And I personally, I think out of all the ones that I've heard, I think it's a win-win if they come on and bought it.
Yeah,
it would just add an IP to them, but I don't think nothing would change. I think if Disney come along, they would go, well, it's making money, just leave it.
I think if Disney bought it, it would remain Stephanie McMahon and Nick Khan as actual, day-to-day running of the company, and Triple H in charge of creative. I don't really understand, the naysayers and the people that go, it's all going to be Mickey Mouse. So it's like, have you not seen what Disney have done? Like, it's not like what.
Yeah, I can't remember the last time Disney. I can't remember the last time Mickey Mouse defeated Thanos or Luke or Darth Vader in anything.
That was the point I was making. I think everyone goes, if Disney buy WWE, it's all going to be, all childlike and stuff. But have you not seen the adult content that they've put out in both Star Wars and
well, not only that, WWE was also in the PG era. We've been past that. I see a lot of people saying, "Oh, that'll be it. We'll have like more woke storylines. We'll have more lesbian and gay things." And I'm like, I think, and it kind of goes. I kind of look at that and go, how juvenile. Secondly, WWE has done these storylines for years, right? So they did HLA. If you remember 2002, they did a thing called hot lesbian action, HLA, right? So they've done all that. They've done that. They've done the cross-dresser. There was a guy called Vico, I think his name was, who came out in a dress. They done, obviously, Santino Marella as a girl.
Well, yeah.
Right? And they also did Chuck and Billy getting married, right? So a lot of people go, oh, that'll turn it woke. And I'm like, have you never watched wrestling? They've done all this before. It's a bit like The Simpsons. You try and come up with something and you go, oh, we'll put a dome over a sit and all that. And you like The Simpsons did it. And then you're like, oh, we'll do this. No, Simpsons did it. And it's the same in wrestling. It's sort of like, oh, we'll do a cage. WWE did it. Okay, well, we'll get two guys to marry. WWE did it. And it's sort of like, they've already done all this. So them saying, oh, Disney will come along and ruin it and it'll be more LGBT and all this sort of thing. It's like, well, they've done all this stuff before, way, way before it was even cool or relevant. They've done all of this before. So it's nothing new.
Yeah, I get it. I get what you're saying. Also, I think people that are that vocal and that going, I don't want LGBT things on.
Yeah.
Fucking hell. We're in 2023, get with the times. Jesus. But I think Disney would be an interesting one. I think that they, like I said, people that just think it would just all become, childish. Like I said, if you've not seen any of the recent Marvel films, I mean, I wouldn't let my child watch the Marvel films yet. They'd have to be, pushing 10, 11 before.
Not only that. They had the WWE studios. I mean, if you added Disney into that.
Well, that was what I was going to say. Like,
you know what I mean?
You're saying, it opens the doors for the wrestlers to have more opportunities. That's what I was going to say. For years now, like, how many films has Miz done with WWE Studios and the Marine franchise and stuff? But that's how Rock got his first. Obviously got his first big break in Scorpion, but he had done a WWE Studios film before that. Cena started. Orton, Ambrose, Ziggler, Becky Lynch. They've all featured in WWE Studios. Imagine now having the opportunity to feature in Disney stuff. That's
and not only that, they don't just own the Disney stuff. You've got all that Fox stuff as well. So you've got things like Family Guy, The Simpsons, American Dad. You've got all those animated shows. Bob's Burgers. You've got all these sort of quirky sort of animated shows where they can't sort of cross promote. But if WWE comes into that family, that's possible. Where they, like I said, they could be sitting. Ant-Man could be sitting there, and you could see the wrestling on the TV, but they won't be able to reference it. But now they'll be like, "Oh yeah, I love this one. This is when Roman Reigns wins at WrestleMania," and it's like reference, and people go, "It's a bit like AEW." Now my daughter, she was watching AEW, and she made a really good point actually. I just want to do this last little bit, and she went, "It's the same with AEW, right?" She said, "If you've never watched wrestling ever, right?" And you're flicking through the channel and you come across AEW for the first time, right? And you're watching it and you're like, oh, this is really good. But I don't know who this WWE is they keep mentioning, right? And then you kind of, you Google it, you watch it the following week and you think, okay, they've got a fan there made from someone else because they've mentioned it. When we said before, AEW doesn't have to keep mentioning WWE. Well, what they're internally doing is giving them free publicity because you're going to think, like my daughter said, imagine if you've never watched wrestling and you come across AEW one night and you're watching it and you think, oh, this is really good. But they keep mentioning WWE. You've instantly just turned someone to watch WWE even if you don't like it. But it's sort of free publicity. And a lot of people go, well, I want WWE to preference AEW. I don't, because one, they don't need to, and two, they won't give them free publicity. That's free work. You don't mention the competitor on TV.
No.
You know what I mean? It's just, and I think with Marvel that would work as well. Imagine if you're not a wrestling fan and Hawkeye's sitting there watching WWE and he goes, oh, this is the best WrestleMania, Stone Cold, Steve Austin and The Rock. And you kind of go, what's this? What are this they watching? You Google it, you start watching, you're in. You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course. There's so many opportunities. Like I mean, as well, obviously she's just turned up here in Japan, but Sasha Banks is already signed with Disney because she's in The Mandalorian.
Yeah.
So There's loads of opportunities. I mean, like I said, if Disney was interested in buying, they've already got people that they have a working relationship with in Sasha Banks, Cena, obviously with the Peacemaker has a relationship with Disney, and this is John Cena. He's been the face of WWE for nearly 2 decades now. But you have also got a Batista. He will have a working relationship with Disney because he plays Drax. So
and not only that,
they already have people that, and don't forget, people like a specific. I mean, I'm not disrespecting Sasha Banks. I think she's a brilliant actress. She's a brilliant wrestler. But Dave Bautista's bigger, and John Cena's probably the biggest. The only name that you could argue is bigger than John Cena is Big Dwayne. I think The Rock's the only one who you could say is bigger. But in terms of biggest wrestler and movie star, Rock only did it for 6 years, and he went off. Cena's done it for 20. So if you're a wrestling fan and a Marvel fan, you're probably gonna be more excited with a John Cena. But what I'm trying to say is, with Batista, obviously Rock's just done the Black Adam as well. It's all
Black Adam for DC,
obviously. But what I'm trying to say is that having The Rock, John Cena, and Batista as people that they're big actors, so people high up within Disney will have had to have been the ones to offer out contracting with Cena, Rock, Batista. So they already have the higher ups of Disney already have a relationship with them. So now they can ring The Rock and ring John Cena and go, if we did buy WWE, would you help us? Because you understand that world.
Yeah.
I would rather a company like that buy WWE that already has a working relationship with people that have come from this world. The best one for me, obviously, is John Cena because of how many years he's been here and was the face of. He was the face of WWE for minimum 15 years. So the fact that they already have a working relationship with him, they've.
I mean, what would you say? What would you like in your point, like for final say? What would you say? Good thing?
I would say Disney's one of the better options if Vince was to sell.
Yeah, I don't think he is, but
I think
it's not to make the thing that with the sale is. I want to just finally say this as well. The thing with the sale is I don't get it because the company's making money.
Yeah.
Not a profit-losing company. They don't need the money. It's making money. So if anyone bought it, one, they're getting a product which is making millions, and not only millions, but it's making more money every single year. It's like a juggernaut that's just continuously making more money. So anyone who buys it has instantly already got loads of money because it's already making money. So, but I don't understand why you would then sell a profit-making company. You know what I mean? Normally you would sell a company if it was making slight profit or not doing too well to try and move it along to profitize from it later on. They can come along.
Or if Vince desperately needs money, which we know he doesn't.
That's what I mean.
So, I mean, I think the reason why I don't think it'll get sold, I mean, look, there's got to be some truth in it, but why would Vince want to sell what he spent his life building that he can now pass on to his daughter? Because I believe Shane is no longer involved with WWE, he's gone. So, but his daughter's still there, who I believe he has a really close relationship with Steph, I think. I don't know, obviously, but I think that they do have a good relationship. He spent his entire life building this monster of a company. It's now in control of by his daughter and his son-in-law, and then after them, it will be his grandchildren. Why would he sell the company from out of the feet of his family, of his bloodline? Why would he want to do that? I don't get it. I don't understand.
Maybe more will come to light in a couple of weeks and months and years and whatever. But look, we're going to leave it there.
Yeah.
What do you think of the show? So, what did you think of the show? It's our first show back. I think it's gone really well. I can't wait to do any more. So some more, obviously.
Yeah, the final point I want to make is it's got a very, very different feel to it now. It's obviously you have come up with, and you've come up with some
Yeah,
changes that you wanted to do, and I think it makes more sense because what we was doing was just basically talking about, you know, Raw and SmackDown every
yeah,
week. It got boring for us. Never mind, you know, our
yeah,
viewers. But I think having massive talking points that everyone can get involved in will be more enjoyable for us as hosts
yeah.
of this show and also our viewers, because each week it's not going to be Raw and SmackDown. It's going to
No,
be a completely different
what's
talking point.
happened? Yeah, yeah,
It could
exactly.
be
Yeah,
anything. So people are then going to tune in, going, are they going to be talking about
what are we going
WWE
to
this
talk about
week?
this
Are
week?
they going to talk about
Yeah,
AEW? Are they going to be talking about? It could be anything. I think so. I just want to, kind of take my hat off to you and say that I think you've come up with, something that could in the future become really special for us because
yeah,
we enjoy doing it, and for our viewers that hopefully come
yeah,
back
definitely.
and we get more and more people in watching us and enjoying it. But I think
Yeah,
it's going to be moving forward.
yeah. Let's just keep going and see how it goes. But
Yeah,
look, we're going to leave it there. I've been Kev, obviously, the Nexus,
I've been Dan.
and obviously we'll see you as always at the next one. Take it easy, guys.
See you later, guys.